Yes,
You
Senator.
believe in open borders, don't you?
I believe in the rule of law, sir.
Right. And it makes you angry that President Trump does not believe in open borders, doesn't it?
Senator, I'm not here to discuss immigration policy. I'm here to discuss whether or not we use the military to enforce it.
And it makes you angry that most Americans don't believe in open borders, doesn't it?
Not in the slightest, sir. Again, I am not here to discuss the immigration policy.
What's up, everybody? Major Retired Richard Ojeda here, and in a Senate Judiciary Committee hearing, you had General Randy Manner going up against Senator John Kennedy. Now, Kennedy, as usual, wasn't there to ask real questions or get real answers.
You think you're smarter than the American people, don't you?
Absolutely not, Senator. I am here to discuss the use of the military as part of this mass deportation.
He was there to gaslight, to accuse, to twist words, and make the whole thing about some agenda he's pushing. You know the kind. It's the same nonsense we see from the MAGA crowd every day.
On October 14th of this year, you went on CNN. Here's what you said. President Trump is not like any sane leader. I'm very proud of General Milley for saying that President Trump is a total fascist. To Bob Woodward, if he, as chairman of the Joint Chiefs, is calling the president a fascist, I'm so proud of him for breaking that barrier. The challenge is because most MAGA Republicans, they don't understand what fascism is. The reality is that they are, in fact, fascists themselves. You think you're more virtuous than the American people, don't you, General?
Senator, I am insulted by your comment.
Manner stood his ground. Watching him handle Kennedy's nonsense was professional and focused on the facts. He didn't take the bait, and he didn't let Kennedy throw him off. That's leadership. That's what standing up for democracy looks like. And someone who served 24 years in the military, in the Army, as part of a light airborne sapper unit, I agree with everything General Manner said. Everything General Milley has been saying too. This isn't about politics. This is about defending democracy and our Constitution against enemies, foreign and domestic. That's the oath that we take. And it's an oath that doesn't just apply while you're in uniform. It's for life. So when I see people like Kennedy twisting the truth, trying to discredit someone like Manner, it gets under my skin. Kennedy's not there to lead. He's there to tear down anyone who threatens the MAGA narrative.
Duty, honor, and respect. You talked about that in your opening statement, didn't you?
Yes, sir.
Ms. Moran said, I wrote down her words. She said, by their actions, you know what someone's character is like. You agree with that?
Senator, for 35 years, I served my country with absolute honor and distinction, and I will continue to do so.
You agree with what Ms. Moran said?
Of course.
Let's be clear about what we're dealing with here. Fascism. This is what it is. It's authoritarian nationalism that demands loyalty to one leader, suppresses dissent, and scapegoats minorities. It's all about consolidating power by spreading fear and turning people against each other. If you look up the definition of fascism, you'll see a description that fits the MAGA movement almost word for word. And that's not just exaggeration, that's a fact. MAGA followers don't want to hear it, but it doesn't matter. They'd rather get pissed off and start yelling about being called insurrectionists like Marcia Trainwreck Green does every time someone holds her accountable. Everyone who called us insurrectionists can go to hell, she said. Well, maybe instead of getting defensive, she and the rest of that crowd should take a long, hard look in the mirror.
So I think it's very important for all the viewers to understand a few things about what is the Trump campaign and what is President Trump. He's authoritarian. It's nationalistic. It's far right. It's intolerant of dissent. It has a contempt for the rule of law. It requires direct obedience to a powerful leader, and it requires the supremacy of one ethnic group. Well, I just gave you the definition of what fascism is. And that's what hurts so much personally, is the average American who is a Trump supporter does not understand that actually right now, President Trump is demonstrating the attributes of fascism every single day.
That's the problem with MAGA. They can't self-reflect. They don't want to ask themselves the hard questions, like whether they're actually following a fascist authoritarian agenda. If they did, they might start to realize that the dangerous path that they're on, yeah, it's bad. And instead, they double down, dig in their heels, and refuse to see the truth. And the consequences of that are devastating for them, for us, and for this country. Take General Mark Milley, for example. Milley saw it firsthand. He was in the room with Trump, watching how he operated, and he didn't mince words when he described what he saw.
Billy, as the chairman of the Joint Chiefs, a very respected person, somebody who really had a record as a military leader, to say that about Trump. Not that he's a problem or we can't trust him, but to take it to the point of saying he is a danger to the country. He is the most dangerous person I know.
He called Trump a fascist to the core, and he's absolutely right. Milley told Bob Woodward, "I had suspicions when I talked to you about this mental decline, but now I realize he's a total fascist. He's the most dangerous person in this country." Let that sink in. This is coming from former chairman of the Joint Chiefs of Staff, someone who served at the highest levels of our military. If that doesn't make you stop and think, then I don't know what will. But it wasn't just what Donald Trump said. It's what he did. Milley brought a disabled veteran to sing at an event, and Trump pulled him aside afterwards and said, "Don't ever do that again. We don't want to see those kinds of people." Those kinds of people. He's talking about the men and women who sacrifice for this country, who put their lives on the line. Trump called them suckers and losers, too. That's the kind of view he has for the people who serve. It's disgusting. And now Trump and his crew, people like Vivek Ramaswamy and Elon Musk, are planning to slash billions of dollars from veterans' health care. They're going after the very programs that help disabled veterans, mental health care, and housing assistance. These aren't just numbers on a budget. These cuts will absolutely devastate lives. And while all of this is happening, you've got people like John Kennedy standing there gaslighting the American people, trying to twist the narrative to make it seem like the real problem is people like General Manor. Kennedy's not asking questions in good faith. He's not interested in the truth. He's there to undermine democracy, plain and simple. And Manor, to his credit, didn't back down. When Kennedy tried to bait him, saying things like, "You think you're smarter than the American people, don't you?" Manor didn't go for it. He stayed calm and professional, saying, "I'm here to discuss the military's role in mass deportations, Senator." That's it. That's how you stand your ground in the face of extremism. What does this mean for the rest of us, though? Because this isn't about one hearing or one senator. This is about the future of our country. Barack Obama said it best in his recent speech at the Obama Foundation Democracy Forum. He talked about what happens when the other side stops playing by the rules. He said, when that happens, we fight for what we believe in. We organize, we mobilize, we stand firm. And he's absolutely right. This isn't the time to sit back and hope things get better on their own. This is a time to stand up, speak out, and fight for our democracy. Obama also talked about finding allies in unlikely places. He reminded us that not everyone on the other side is monolithic. There are people who still believe in the rule of law, in fairness, in sticking to the Constitution. Those are the people we need to reach out to build coalitions with, because this fight is too big to do alone. It's going to take all of us working together to push back against the MAGA agenda and protect what's left of our democracy. And let me tell you something else. This fight isn't just about policies or budgets. It's about people. It's about standing up for your neighbors, your friends, and your family. When they come for your neighbor and you stay silent, there will be no one left to defend you. That's the truth. If we let them take our neighbors, if we let them silence dissent, if we let them target vulnerable communities, then we're complicit. We can't afford to sit quietly. We have to stand up and push back, just like General Manor did. Because here's the thing. MAGA isn't just a political movement. It's a threat to everything this country stands for. It's a movement rooted in fear, in division, in hatred. It's a movement that scapegoats immigrants, that undermines democratic norms, that idolizes one of man over the Constitution, and if we don't stop it, it's going to destroy everything we've built. So here's what we need to do. First, we need to call out fascism for what it is. Don't sugarcoat it. Don't dance around it. MAGA is a fascist movement, and we need to say it loud and clear. Second, we need to organize. That means getting involved in your community, supporting candidates who stand for democracy and making your voice heard. And third, we need to stay united. This fight is bigger than any one of us, and it's going to take all of us working together to win. General Manners stood his ground in that hearing, facing down an extremist like John Kennedy. He didn't flinch. He didn't back down. That's the kind of courage we all need right now, because the stakes are too high to do anything less. So stand up, speak out, and fight for what's right. This is our country, and it's worth defending. And that is an absolute fact. Sappers clear the way, airborne all the way.